Okay, let's dive into some really interesting source material you sent over. It's about an SEC filing.
Right, involving Nasdaq and their crypto index.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack what that filing tells us today.
And the headline, really the main thing the source points out is that Nasdaq is actually expanding its benchmark crypto index.
Expanding it. What does that actually mean in simple terms?
Well, it's basically a shift, a shift in how this specific index tracks digital assets. It could be pretty significant.
Okay, significant how? Let's get into the details from the source. It mentions Nasdaq filed something specific with the SEC.
Yes, an 8K filing that happened back on June 9th, 2025.
An 8K, right. That's for, like, important unscheduled news.
Exactly. It's a formal heads up. And the news here is this expansion of their crypto benchmark index.
Got it. And the source says how much of an expansion?
It does. It states clearly it's going from tracking 5 digital assets
Only 5 before.
to now tracking 9.
9. Okay, so 4 more. Does the source tell us which 4?
Yep, names them specifically. The 4 new assets being added are XRP, Solana, that's SOL, Cardano, ADA, and Stellar, or XLM.
Interesting mix. XRP, SOL, ADA, XLM.
And this is where I think the source material gets really insightful because, previously indices like this tended to focus heavily on the big ones.
Like Bitcoin and Ethereum mostly.
Pretty much, yeah. So the source highlighting these 4 specific additions, XRP, SOL, ADA, XLM, well, it suggests something more, doesn't it?
Like growing acceptance beyond just the top 2.
Exactly. Growing institutional acceptance, potentially. It feels like an acknowledgement from a major player like Nasdaq that these other assets have significant market presence or potential.
Incorporating that next tier, maybe.
Sort of, yeah. And the filing itself, the source explains, lays out the reason for this expansion.
Okay, what's the stated purpose?
It's intended to allow an ETF, the hashtag's Nasdaq Crypto Index US ETF, ticker NCIQ.
Right, an ETF, an exchange-traded fund that people can invest in.
Precisely. It allows that ETF, NCIQ, to switch over and start tracking this new, broader index with the 9 assets.
Ah, so the index change enables the ETF product to offer wider exposure.
That's the plan. But the source is careful to note this isn't a done deal yet.
How so?
The actual switch for the ETF for NCIQ to track the new index, that's pending an SEC decision.
Of course, the SEC needs to sign off on the ETF changing its underlying index. Any timeline mentioned?
Yes, the source indicates a decision is expected by November 2nd, 2025.
Okay, November 2nd, so we're waiting on that piece.
Right. But if you step back and look at what the source provides, the filing, the expansion, the specific assets, the ETF link, it paints quite a picture.
It really does. It's not just like Nasdaq tweaking a list in the background.
No, it's a formal signal through an SEC filing. It shows Nasdaq and hashtags, by extension, having confidence in this wider set of digital assets.
Right.
Enough confidence to potentially base a publicly traded product on them.
It feels like solid evidence derived right from the source, showing how institutional interest is maybe broadening out.
I think that's a fair reading. And why this matters to you listening is it's a concrete data point.
Yeah, helps you track market trends, right?
Yeah.
See where big players are focusing.
Exactly. You see where entities like Nasdaq and hashtags are looking within crypto and how they're trying to package that for more traditional investors.
It's definitely a move towards more mainstream visibility for these specific coins, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Stellar.
It certainly could be, which I think leads to a final thought, building on the source material you shared.
Okay, what should we be thinking about?
Well, given this potential index expansion and what the source suggests about broader institutional interest, what might this specific move, this filing, mean for the future visibility and perception of XRP, Solana, Cardano, and Stellar? Even before the SEC decides on the ETF, what does the signal itself suggest?
Yeah. Regardless of the final ETF outcome, the signal itself is interesting. Definitely something to keep an eye on.